Good morning, former chiefs, Air Chief Marshal AP Singh, friends from the media, colleagues from the armed forces, and academicians here today, and ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to invite you all this morning to the uh, Subroto Mukerjee annual seminar, which is actually an annual flagship event of the Center of Air Power Studies. So I'll begin by saying a few words about uh, Air Chief Marshal Subroto Mukerjee, who was the first Commander-in-Chief of the Air Force and also the first Chief of Staff of the Indian Air Force. And as I think you all are well aware, the theme for this seminar today is Atmanirbharta and Aerospace, the way ahead. I'll come to this a bit later, but first a few words about Subroto Mukherjee, who was born on 5th March 1911 into a Bengali family of repute. His father was an ICS officer, and he was also the nephew of Flight Lieutenant Indralal Roy, the first recipient of DFC and the only Indian flying ace ever. Educated both in India and the United Kingdom, Subroto Mukherjee joined the Air Force on 1st September 1932 and later was among the first to join the Indian Air Force, the Royal Air Force, sorry, and then among the first to join the Indian Air Force in 1933. He flew with number 1 squadron from 1933 to 1941 and saw extensive action during the period when the squadron was operating in the Northwest Frontier Province, and he was also mentioned in dispatches for his valor. He attended the Staff College in Quetta in 1941, returned back to command 1 squadron in 1942, and thereafter he took over RAF Station Kohat before moving to Air Headquarters as Director Flying Training. He was awarded the Order of the British Empire in 1945. After India's partition, he was appointed as Deputy Air Commander, Royal Indian Air Force, and after completion of the course at the Imperial Defense College, which is now known as the RCDS, he was appointed the Commander-in-Chief of the Air Force on 1st April 1954, which also happened to be the day when the colors were presented to the Indian Air Force by the then President, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. In August 58, Mukherjee was given a second tenure of 4 years with effect from 1st October 1958, and from 55 he also served as the chairman of the Chiefs of Staff Committee for the longest period in history, which was a period of more than 5 years. And actually it was in the year 1960 when the then Indian Airlines Corporation started a direct flight to Tokyo, and he along with PC Lal, who was the chief subsequently, had gone to Tokyo, and while having a meal at a restaurant, a piece of food got lodged in his windpipe, which caused him to choke, leading to a sad and tragic demise. He was flown to Palam the next day and cremated with full military honors. He had many firsts to his credit, being the first to command a flight, a squadron, a station, and finally the Indian Air Force. Mukherjee was a great football lover and a member of the Mohan Bagan Club, and he had conceived the idea of an inter-school All India football tournament, and this was implemented after his death, and the Subroto Cup football tournament still carries on, helping to find talented players from Indian schools and also some neighborhood countries. Subroto Park, where we are now present, which also houses the headquarters of Western Air Command, is named after him. Known as the father of the Indian Air Force, his proud legacy still lives on as one of the finest and most professional air forces in the world. The theme for today's seminar is Atmanirbharta and Aerospace, the way forward. What would have been his thoughts at this juncture of the IF's journey is difficult to predict. The fact that the government has appointed a committee to look into the capability gap and the shortcomings of the IF is a testimony to the fact that we have a problem on hand that needs speedy resolution. The theme, therefore, for the seminar could not have been more appropriate and timely, and I sincerely hope that today's proceedings will in some way give us a roadmap to the future. I will in a few words cover my thoughts on the issue, that is an important and inalienable tool of national security, which cannot afford to fail the nation. Firstly, procrastination and self-praise never helps. The dearth of fighter aircraft, air-to-air refuelers, airborne warning and control systems, precision weapons, both air-to-air and air-to-ground, continue to stymie the potential of the Indian Air Force. And for each of these, we need to have a clear roadmap and a time-bound program that cannot afford to slip. Accountability, in my opinion, has been found wanting in the existing system of the PSUs being the major suppliers of defense equipment to the Indian Air Force. While GE can be blamed for not supplying engines for the LCA, LRUs and many small components are also the weak links in the production chain. Deadlines promised to the Air Force are invariably missed. At this rate and pace, we can never hope to achieve the promised production figures of 16 aircraft every year. What is the solution then? The logic is simple. In my opinion, private enterprises are more agile, flexible, and efficient. When they run up losses, unlike the public sector, they cannot afford to pay wages with tax rupees. The expenditure on R&D as a percentage of the defense budget is amongst the lowest in the world in India. This has to be increased with a greater involvement of the Air Force, which also needs to look at the HR aspect as far as R&D is concerned. Without the involvement of dedicated personnel in uniform with the public and private sector on specific projects, we will continue to revise our SQRs. Setting up of the Directorate of Aeronautical Design and Air Headquarters may be a small step towards bringing together the industry and R&D, but larger IAF representation in certification and quality assurance is the way forward. The Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020 that favors IDDM has timelines for procurement that are invariably never met. The delays that occur for approval of procurements, whether for lack of financial outlay or lethargic decision-making, have no accountability. We have 3 panels today with distinguished subject matter experts as speakers, along with 2 former chiefs and my predecessor chairing the panels. I am sure that today's deliberations would be candid, with soul-searching to find solutions to Atmanirbharta in aerospace. We are grateful to President SIDM, Secretary DRDO, Defense Secretary, and of course, the Air Chief for having spared their valuable time to attend today's proceedings. Thank you.